about people inherently good, people inherently evil? What do you think?
It's all across the spectrum. There are no monoliths. I think people generally are self-centered, and that's evolutionarily wired into us. We the most important thing for any living organism is to stay alive. Um, that we have tendencies for selflessness for our wives, our husbands, our lovers, our children, our grandparents, our friends, our greater community. That's something that's less predictable. The bad is predictable because, you know, the monkey that was greedy and hid bananas from the rest of the troop, when the bananas when there was a drought, he had bananas stashed away, or maybe nuts stashed away, and he could survive and pass on his genes. So duplicity, deception, lies are good evolutionary strategies. There's a reason why leaders tend to be, well, most political leaders at least, tend to have a lot of the characteristics that we generally associate with now sociopaths and, to an extreme example, psychopaths. You have to be sort of narcissistic. Hillary Clinton is a narcissist. Trump is a narcissist. Bill Clinton's a narcissist. Obama is probably a lesser version of it, but he has narcissism. Think of any major politician. They're narcissists. And think of these CEOs. They don't do anything really. I was just reading something on Twitter a couple of hours ago about Elon Musk. That guy is a flaming narcissist. And he himself isn't inventing anything. He's got the money and he pays people, but he himself is not doing anything. Now, it's good to have investments in stuff and if you're doing positive things, but he's not doing it for the betterment of the world. He's doing it so that Elon Musk, is known throughout history. But no one remembers these stuff. Here's a thing I've said many times and a few times on video. I'm going to give you three names, and you tell me if you've ever heard of them, okay?
Okay.
William Shakespeare.
Yes.
You've heard of him.
Yes.
Pablo Picasso.
Yes.
Stanley Kubrick.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course.
Three people. Okay, now tell me, who was the governor of the province or the top politician in the local area when Shakespeare was born? Do you know?
I do not.
Who was the richest man in the province of Spain when Picasso was born?
I do not.
And who was the leading district attorney in New York City when Stanley Kubrick was born?
I do not know.
Now, all three of those people were in far better positions than Shakespeare, Picasso, and Kubrick. But no one remembers them because ultimately the things they did had no or very little consequence going forward. Shakespeare, even though I think he's overall overrated, was still a great artist and has had obvious impact. Same can be said of Picasso. Maybe in the visual arts, one could even argue Picasso is even more dominant in the last 100 years than Shakespeare. And Kubrick, of course, is one of the top 5 or 10 filmmakers of all time. And filmmaking is a far more complex art than painting, and in some ways almost equal to writing. So here are guys who are doing things that in 500, 1,000 years from now, and hopefully if mankind goes beyond that, are still going to be known. But no one gives a shit about who the richest motherfucker was. No one gives a shit about some minor prefecture's governor or satrap. That no one gives a shit about the guy who was the most famed prosecutor or the guy who invented some minor. These things ultimately don't matter. Society, whether we recognize it or not, ultimately knows what it should value, but individuals as a whole don't. We can look up the Einsteins and the Newtons as well, science as well as the arts. These people contributed things. The rest just falls away because anyone could do it. Anyone could be Elon Musk. Elon Musk didn't make all the money by himself. Elon Musk inherited, I think it was an emerald mine.